Hey guys, James Schuler with Center Technologies. Wanted to take a minute to talk about the Kaseya breach and what it is that Center's doing to make sure that not only Center's core systems are protected, but we're doing all we can for our customer base. So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about what this breach means to the industry and how Center's taking a unique approach in making sure that everyone's safe. So first, let's remember what's gone on this year. We had the end of last year with the SolarWinds breach. That was the first time that we really talked about supply chain attacks and how those can impact the industry. Fast forward to the Kaseya attack. It's the same type, a supply chain attack, but a very different motive. So the SolarWinds breach, when it was in the news, there was a lot of talk about Russian state entities or Russian funded entities that were doing that attack, and it was for the sake of espionage. They were collecting the data like spies. In this case, there is actually a ransom provided, so there's an economic benefit to the group pushing this virus out. Staying on the idea of a supply chain attack, since that term is still a bit new to many, supply chain attack refers to kind of a one-to-many approach, where if the breach occurs at the enterprise software level, then it's able to not only impact one business, but multiple businesses that software company provides a product to. And that's what happened in this case. It's not novel. We've seen this before. In fact, I think it was in 2018 that Homeland Security announced that your MSP, like Center, might be your biggest threat. Think about it, the same way that this is happening where people that use Kaseya software are all in trouble over this. Everyone who an MSP can touch would also be in trouble if the MSP was breached. So groups like Center go through a lot of effort to make sure that it's not something that we're going to be on the wrong side of. A number of our competitors don't have the same level of compliance or stringency that they have to go through third-party auditing. So it might be a good question to ask your MSP if you're not working with Center today. Which third-party audits do you have to adhere by? And who is it that you have to answer to make sure that you're doing your end of the bargain? For us, it's a SOC 2 Type 2 audit that we go through annually, and that includes not just your traditional pen tests and things of that nature, but it also includes, are you following the tools and the policies, the controls that you have in place to make sure that everyone's being managed the same. Essentially assures that we're disciplined to the things we preach about. Another question I've been getting a lot of is Center eating their own dog food? We're preaching a whole bunch of things right now about mitigation, detection, and response tools. We're talking a lot about backup and business continuity strategies and a whole bunch around the 365 tenant and how you take full advantage of your features within it. And the short answer is yes. We don't sell things unless we're using them internally or a variant of them internally. And then there's other manufacturers that we offer just a fraction of what they do because we find that to be best of breed. And we're experts in just that area while not being experts in every category that manufacturer may carry. So when the question comes, what is Center doing to make sure they're protected from a supply chain attack or another ransomware attack or anything like that? The answer is always a layered security approach. For us, it all follows behind NIST guidelines. NIST is the government standard for what any corporation probably should follow, but definitely the government follows for IT security protocols. It starts at the very front end with employee awareness training. So we put all of our employees and our customers through a rigorous process of quarterly trainings, 30-minute videos where they are self-paced and you can figure out, is your company taking the videos? Are they passing the videos and the tests? And if they are, you can rest assured that at least they understand that they shouldn't click on the links they get in their emails, or that they're understanding what complex password significance is and all that stuff. The next is that we help write the complex password policy for our customers, and we carry a complex password policy ourselves that we have to follow and adhere by. In addition to that, we have multi-factor authentication in place. Some corporations, we not only have that through the 365 tenant, but also through some industry best practices like our industry best of breed, like Duo or Okta and others. So multi-factor authentication. This list goes on and on. Encryption with laptops just continues on and on, following the NIST guidelines, all the way up to endpoint detection and response, network detection and response, cloud detection and response, and logging. Those are oftentimes perceived as advanced tools, and they are advanced. But the EDR, endpoint detection and response, has really become foundational here in the last few months. In fact, in June, just this last month, the White House released a memo advising and recommending 9 different things that all companies, no matter their size, should go through and do for their company to protect themselves from this type of breach. That list of 9, there were things in there that you'd expect, like patching your systems for security patches and updates, making sure you're sticking to your backup policies. But one of the things that caught us off guard a little bit was they took what used to be advanced endpoint detection and response, and they made it truly foundational. This was shocking enough, at least, that we've already got it on the books, that we're going to be doing a webinar series just on that. So we will have that invite out to you soon. But we're going to be talking about how EDR, what once was advanced, is now an absolute necessity that's almost synonymous now with antivirus, something that you have to have in your environment no matter what. The good thing is it supplements your antivirus strategy. So whatever you're doing today for next-gen antivirus is not a loss. EDR would work on top of that and would analyze the logs that your next-gen antivirus is creating. Both of these would be behavior-based or machine learning technologies, scanning your system for anomalies, and making sure that when something is found that is an anomaly, it is isolated and contained so that the experts have a chance to get in, take a look at what the root was, as opposed to just simply unplugging all systems from the wall, shutting down your operation, really hiding from what the root was, and then trying to rebuild all your systems. So, how is it that you can take preventative measures and really protect yourself? Well, based on who it is that's been coming through on the news that's been breached, I would argue you're better off in the SMB space and in the mid-market space to have a different strategy, maybe not fully preventative. There are preventative tools at very low costs, don't get me wrong, but you need to find tools that are more offensive. Preventative means that you're going to be looking for a way to prevent this from ever happening. Although that may be the possibility, but I would think you're getting lucky if that's the case. More realistic is, if I'm breached, how do I limit the pain to as little as possible? And we have a map for that that's very well tested. It starts with how do you rebuild systems quick? Got to have that in place. It bends into, is my data in a position that it can be restored fast? So you got to have really good backups, perhaps replication. Every business is different, so we can help strategize behind what that means for you. And then this EDR tool that's going to help scan the network, scan the endpoints, look for these anomalies, and then isolate and contain them. Between those 3, Center's really an expert, so this is a really good spot to be offensive. We can help you look at your 365 tenant and see if there's features you're paying for but just haven't enabled. That's a really good way to get more out of your current investment. The second, we can analyze what your current executive team looks at, their expectations for how the business will respond in the event you go down. We can then analyze that compared to what reality is and how your systems are stood up. If there's a gap, which there normally is one, don't be afraid of that. We'll help you look at ways that you can improve your systems and the backups to make sure that it aligns with the expectations of your executive team. And then the third one, the Proactive Threat Hunter, it's pretty inexpensive. You should expect to budget around $15 per endpoint per month. And it'll, again, do all the proactive 24/7 scanning, looking for those behavior changes. But that's really the lesson today, is that if you have those 3 things in place, yeah, there's other things too, foundational areas that have always been part of IT security. But if you have those 3 things in place on top of the traditional foundation, you can sleep at night knowing that you're going to be able to limit whatever comes your way. So with that, I'd love to carry the conversation further. I got a lot more to talk about on it. Again, we're going to host a webinar on this. I've given you the guide that those 3 things matter. If you would like to look at how those 3 things might impact your company, let's talk. I'm available. y'all know my schedule. I'm pretty available. So feel free to reach out to me or reach out to your account executive, and let's get the meeting on the books today. We'll probably be back on this same platform week after next. So if y'all want to just wait for me for the next time, that's fine too. Talk to y'all soon. Thanks.